Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing really well. Today I'm going to be answering some of your questions. I asked on my community tab if you had any for me, and you definitely had a lot to ask. So we're just gonna do a little bit of a chill kind of hangout video. I'm gonna be getting ready. I made a nice iced coffee to enjoy and to just vibe, chill out together. Let's just regroup a little bit and reconnect. I feel like I have been, well, I know I have been really slacking on uploads lately. So I just wanted to spend some time kind of reconnecting with you. So let's hang out. Let's get right on into it. I already primed my eyes and set them. I'm probably not really going to be talking about the products that I'm using today because I'm going to be chatting about the questions that you asked, but I'm going to kind of kick it off with this What's Up Beauty Geodes palette. I specifically want to use the shade that I actually painted my nails with this morning, and it is the What's Up Beauty nail polish in the shade Clay because they made some of the shadows in this palette into corresponding nail polishes, which I think is just so cute. And I really love this color, this kind of like greeny kind of gray tone right there. Let's hop on into the questions. So I kind of want to start with this one here. It's got two questions, but the first one is, how are you doing? And that's really sweet. Thank you so much for just even prefacing the question with that. I'm doing all right. Gotta say, I have been a little bit overwhelmed lately. I do feel like I have been stretched a little bit thin because I do work full time, which, I mean, that's all right. I do enjoy my job. I have fun working, and I do feel like it's really fortunate for me that I do work from home. But we have been just working on project after project and like large scale projects on the house this summer because if you're Canadian, you know, you only have like 4 months of the year where you can actually really get stuff done on the exterior of your home when it comes to like gardening and landscaping. So we have just been doing things on the daily because we have to, we want to. So I feel like I've been stretched kind of thin. We did also adopt a dog very recently, like 3.5 months ago. So yeah, things have been busy. The second part of this question is, did you have a nice summer or were you fighting that plant again? So, okay, I kind of answered that a little bit. In terms of my summer, it has been very busy, but we have had opportunities to spend time with a lot of friends and family and, you know, have some definite relaxation time. And was I fighting that plant again? If you're not familiar what this question is referring to, last summer when we moved into this house, we realized we had an invasive species of a plant that really had taken over very drastically. It was, I am not even exaggerating, like 8 feet tall and probably about 5 or so feet down underground. So I was manually out there removing it pretty much on the daily last year. The only way to remove Japanese knotweed, which is what we had, is to actually physically remove it. And so that's what I was doing. And thank goodness this year it is definitely minimized. It is not entirely gone, but it is minimized. So I just kind of spend like a half hour every couple days picking out the small little growth above ground. And I haven't been digging down into the ground because I actually planted a garden of native plants to combat it now that I had eliminated a lot of the actual growth. Let's move on. What do you do for work? And then it says, if you weren't in that job / field, what would you do instead? Or what would be your dream career? So currently, and for the last like just over a year, I have worked as a web project manager. I oversee web development and web design, and I kind of see the two come together and we create some pretty good websites. So that is what I do. I do fortunately work from home, and I have exclusively worked from home in this position, and I've been very fortunate to do so. Honestly, I really enjoy it. I went to school for web design and development, only back in 2019 I started, and I graduated last year. And so I guess I'm kind of in the role that I didn't really know that I was seeking, because it's funny, I started this web design and development course, and I would be asked, like, what do you want to do? Do you want to kind of go more in the design field? Do you want to go more in the development field? And our program was heavily focused on coding. I said, I don't want to be a coder. I don't want to be a coder, but I would like to have the knowledge and the understanding of how to do it, and some comfort in how to do it, but I don't want that to be my everyday. But I wanted to feel familiar with it because I do have a background in graphic design, and I wanted to move into more web kind of focused industry. And I'm really lucky because I started actually a position with this same company back in 2020, right at the very beginning of the pandemic, doing web design, and had the opportunity to move to a management position after only a year, and it's truly perfect. I don't really know what else I see myself wanting to do. I have been really enjoying this job, this position. Overall, it's really good. My work-life balance does feel better than it ever has in the past, because I previously worked in retail, and it was just, I didn't feel like I had a work-life balance at all, and I was just physically and mentally exhausted every single day. I didn't really feel like I wanted to spend a lot of time with friends or family because I just felt so drained all the time, and my bank account was drained too because I was just surrounded by this life of consumerism. And then another question is, you talk a lot about consumerism and its environmental impacts a lot these days. What kinds of changes, choices have you made in your life outside of makeup and beauty to reflect this value system? What's worked and what hasn't worked so well? So that is a very loaded question. My number one thing that I have really implemented into my life in these last few years, like I said, I used to work in retail, and so overconsumption and just consumption in general was like a normal part of my life. I've worked in clothing retail, I've worked in beauty retail, I have worked in furniture retail, I've worked in so many different aspects of retail, and I normalized overconsumption and making excuses to purchase something or whatever. I normalized that for a long time, and now, these days, I think in part because the temptation isn't there on the day-to-day, I'm not surrounded by it, I just generally don't consume that much stuff. Clothing, I don't bring very much in at all. I wear what I have until it is like no longer wearable. And even still, when it's not wearable, I wear it as something to wear in the garden or to do renovations or weekend projects. I don't spend my days at all thinking about what I want to bring into my life, what I need. So I think that is probably the number one thing that I've done in terms of my shift in my sustainability journey. And then when I do purchase things, like especially when it comes to like furniture, decor, I prefer to buy secondhand, whether that be something that I get from the thrift store, or if I get it from Facebook Marketplace or Poshmark. So I'm really trying my best to not encourage new production of goods. Like instead of going to a store and purchasing something brand new, I'm finding an option that already exists in the world. So that has been the biggest shift in me. And that's honestly, a lot of that is also because it's so much easier to shop from home than having to go out in the world. I live in a small town now, so it's way easier to go on Poshmark and find, like recently, I purchased a new to me pair of Birkenstocks, for example, because my old ones were, I kid you not, 12 years old and literally falling apart. The cork was gone. I don't really necessarily want to buy new leather goods, but if there's someone out there that, you know, they had these shoes for a while, they enjoyed them, maybe they didn't fit them right, maybe they weren't comfortable, and now they're wanting to part with them, I would rather buy it from that person, because the good already existed. So I replaced my Birkenstocks for like a third of the price of new ones. And I think I'll probably get about 10 years out of them still, given my track record with my previous ones. So that is the biggest shift that I've made for sure in my life. I'm going for a no foundation look today. I have been doing them on the regular and absolutely loving them. This hot weather, it just feels so much better on my skin. Some days I don't have an opportunity to wash my face until very late. Like yesterday, I wore makeup for like 17 hours straight, but because I didn't have foundation on, it actually wore really nicely and it didn't feel uncomfortable on my face. But this is technically a foundation that I've been using as a kind of concealer in the center of my face. It's the Colourpop No Foundation Stix, this here, and I decanted into this e.l.f. Container because I couldn't access the product anymore. So there still is a lot in here, but that's what I've been using under my eyes and absolutely loving lately. And then I went onto the cheeks with a little bit of this. I finally found it. I found it after like almost a month of it being missing, my Bite Multistick in the shade Cashew. And I just love the way that this looks like real skin. I have been trying to find options that have more sustainable kind of packaging or a lack of packaging, and I've been trying to implement that into my life as often as possible. So I tried Blueland. I have tried a lot of products from them actually, and I really like their dishwasher tabs because they don't have any plastic at all. It's really hard to find dishwasher tabs that don't contain any plastic. Oftentimes they have like a kind of plastic film around them. Same with laundry. And I've also shifted to those laundry sheets as opposed to jugs as well, because that just is, again, way less packaging. So just trying to reduce the amount of stuff that goes into the recycling bin and into the waterways. So that includes, I have been really trying to find a suitable shampoo bar and conditioner bar option for me. That has been a little bit more challenging. The conditioner bar, actually I have one that I really like, but the shampoo bar has been a little bit more challenging for me, but I am trying to find that. Same with shifting to bar soap instead of like shower gel. And these are things that they just become my unconscious norm now. I don't even look at like shower gels or body washes or anything. I just don't even look or consider them as something that I'm going to bring into my life or want to. I'm trying to think of other things. I just feel like there's so many things that I just do kind of unconsciously now because they have become my norm out of economical kind of need, because I really want to spend my money on improvements of my home and not necessarily on acquiring things. But yeah, those are kind of like some top of mind swaps that I've made that are really easy, really easy, and have worked very, very well for me. I feel like I've already almost done my makeup, but there's still quite a few questions. I've been very thorough with my answers. Okay, another question is, what is your hair routine and how do you achieve your wavy looks? You know what? I'm going to do my hair with you actually after I finish my makeup, because I could do a wavy hair kind of look. We can do that together. So I will save that for the end. Okay, this question, or this is a series of questions. Have you ever done a project polish with a project pan with nail polish? No, I haven't. Any tips? I have not actually ever done that. I paint my nails all the time. I love to have my nails painted. But I feel like I have always had a pretty manageable amount of nail polishes, and I would get really bored of having to paint my nails the exact same color all the time in order to see progress, versus like with makeup, like I don't get as bored of using products on the regular. So I just have never done that. I'm sorry, I don't have any tips for you on that. Do you sometimes feel guilt or shame because of the products you cannot use that might be wasted? Or is this something you don't think about after all the years of panning? I most definitely feel a lot of guilt about products that I can't use up, whether they are expired or they don't work for me. I carry that for sure. And that's something that I'm trying to actually kind of move away from, is that feeling that that weight that I feel. I would say that through panning, it has become worse for me as opposed to better. Probably something I didn't think about that much prior to my panning experience. Now I like want to use everything up to completion. I want to use them all up in their entirety. I want to use them up in a, you know, reasonable amount of time. So I'd say it's the opposite. It's become more apparent to me through panning and harder to deal with actually. Oh, and then they elaborate a little bit more. I asked because I myself often feel guilt about the products that expire unused / unloved, even if I know on the other hand that makeup is fun and exciting, and at the time I bought it, it had its purpose. Yeah, I struggle with the same kind of thing, and I totally understand where you're coming from. Yeah, I do oftentimes feel a little bit of guilt as well. You are not alone on that one. And then they also said, would love to see more of your cat. I'd love to see him more too. He is an independent creature for sure. He just lives on his own wavelength. He's the best. Kendrick is just the best, yeah. I don't really hang out with him that much because he's just not social. He's not angry or like mean or anything like that. He just does his own thing. He's an independent guy, like I said. Let's move on. I'm so sorry. This is gonna be such a long video, but it's so fun to sit and just chat with you guys. So thank you. Thank you so much for sticking around if you have. Next question. How did you and Patrick meet? So believe it or not, we met in high school. I have known Patrick for more than half my life. I met him when I was, I guess I would have been 14 turning 15 years old, and I'm 30 now. We met on the bus. We were on the same bus route. So yeah, we met on the bus. He is a grade younger than me, so we never had like classes together until I did a kind of victory lap year. I did a grade, I guess technically grade 13 kind of year where I just took extra classes, extra credits, just because I did not know what I was going to do with my life, and I didn't know for another 10 years, but that's okay. We actually did date in high school when I was in grade 11 and he was in grade 10 for just a short while. We got back together in 2016. Is that right? No, 2014? Oh my God. We got together 8 years ago, whatever that equates to, 2014. But we had kind of lost touch for a little while between like after high school finished and then, but yeah, we got back together and we never stopped hanging out after that. So yeah, that's it. That's the story, I guess. Yeah, we've known each other for a long time. There's another question attached to that, unrelated, but it says, also, how does a person get started with a panning routine? Interesting. I think a big part of how you can develop your own panning routine is by selecting products that all work together and selecting products that are, you know, different types of categories as well, so that when you sit down to do your makeup for the day, you can actually just reach for that like almost full face of products. And that way, every single day you're seeing some progress happening, as opposed to like working on, let's say, trying to work on 3 blushes or 2 bronzers or 2 highlights. Like, you're not gonna see the progress that you want to see, and you might not fall into the routine of using those products on the regular if you are bouncing between different items. So that is something that I learned throughout my panning journey for sure, is I just like to be a little bit more selective, a little bit more filtered in what I'm working on. And it still gives me the flexibility to reach for things outside of project pans any occasion that I really want to. But then I have, you know, my dedicated foundation or my dedicated concealer that I'm seeing that evident progress happening on, and I'm really focusing on that product. I think also a big part of like finding a routine with panning is setting those products aside and maybe having those as the most accessible. So for me, I have a drawer that has like all of my focus products. Well, there's things that are in my panning projects, or it's things like this where I'm just like trying to get this used up and I don't have it in a focus project pan necessarily. but they're the things that I see the most visible. When I go to sit down and do my makeup, I see them first, and then I can kind of go through my drawers and pick out other components of my makeup routine if I want to. Having quantifiable ways of tracking progress, I think, are good, and for other people is not good. For me, it is so beneficial to me to take pictures, and throughout the month I can kind of like check back in on like what did something look like at the beginning of this month versus what it's looking like now, and I can actually see the difference. I'm gonna use my Colourpop Brink today. I've been reaching for this really often, and if I looked like month to month during my project pan as I've been focusing on this, I wouldn't feel like I was making that much progress. But it's now just like a very small little pencil, and I can see when I look at my measurements, like at my tracking, how much I've actually used this year, and it feels really good. I've also noted like my number of uses, and I have that visual reference of my markings and my photos, and it's actually so motivating for me to actually finish this. Okay, there's a couple more questions too. And I do feel like some of them ended up being a little bit similar, and I've probably addressed actually quite a few of them. I'm not sure that this lip is doing it for me, but maybe when my hair is down, I'll kind of feel a little bit more confident about it. But let's take a look through some of the remaining questions. So besides makeup, what other hobbies do you have? In which other ways do you express your creativity? Makeup is a really big part of my life, and I think that my enjoyment of makeup has translated to other creative avenues that I do enjoy, like photography, although I have not been indulging in it that often lately. Photography is something that I've always really enjoyed for like all of my adult life. Like I used to just like take my camera and go out and like take pictures out in the world. But now I kind of focus it more on makeup and beauty related stuff. So that is definitely a huge passion of mine and creative avenue for me is photography. Oh my gosh, I can't get my hair to cooperate. I'm just trying to clip up like half my hair so I can show you these dang waves. But a big creative outlet for me, again, I haven't been able to indulge in it that much lately, is drawing. And I've tried to integrate some like doodles and stuff into my videos lately, which is good, especially this year, because now I can do some digital art with the iPad that I have. So that is really cool. That's been really fun. I do really enjoy drawing for sure. Doodling, I'm not the best drawer, but I do enjoy drawing for sure. Now this is how I do my waves, by the way. Literally just drag. And there you go. I got some loose waves. I'll show you again actually how I do that. And then another creative outlet for me is cooking. So just kind of take a chunk of hair, flip it, and I just drag slowly and keep just kind of flipping it. That's literally all I do to do like a wavy heat hairstyle. But if I, think in advance, I often just do braids, like 2 like pigtail braids before I go to bed. But I just keep breaking it into like these like maybe 1.5 to 2 inch sections, not super consistent at all. In fact, I think it looks better when I'm not so structured with it. I like when it's a little bit more messy. So cooking is for sure a really good creative outlet for me. I get so much satisfaction out of making like a nice meal, and especially enjoying it with other people in my life. So particularly Patrick, my fiance, but friends and family, having people over and like getting them in on enjoying the food that I created is really, really something that just fuels me so much. I absolutely love doing that. I love, love, love sharing a good meal that I spent time and energy creating and sharing it with people. That's like one of my favorite things in life, honestly. It's just so fulfilling. I'm vegetarian, and I know that for a lot of people, vegetarianism is maybe intimidating, or actually the polar opposite, maybe boring in theory to them. They think it's gonna be bland or whatever, basic. And I really enjoy making these amazing vegetarian meals with proteins and ingredients that maybe they wouldn't have tried on their own, and seeing people really enjoy my creations. Okay, I'm just gonna filter through these questions and see if there's anything that I haven't touched on. So, okay, as I finish up my hair, last question, will you share wedding related content? I don't know, it's funny, I am on this platform and you would think that it means like I wanna be the center of attention, or I like to be, you know, the person that people see. And it's funny because I'm not that person. I don't really like to be the center of attention. And so I think our wedding is gonna be pretty low key because of that. Patrick is extremely extroverted. He is the one that is outgoing in this relationship. He is the one that, you know, brings the people together. And I am the one that I like my personal space. I like my alone time. I'm definitely the introvert. So I think our wedding is gonna be pretty low key. I think, I don't know, we'll see. We're not planning our wedding at the moment. Actually, we've talked about a few things that we would maybe like to do, or ways that we would like to kind of go about it, but we're not actively planning it because we are just spending a lot of money on things at the house, and I don't really know like what I would share. Like, would I share things like as I'm planning my wedding? I don't know that I'd like to do that. Or do you mean like videos of like the day of? Because maybe if we were to get a videographer or a photographer, then yeah, maybe. I really think it would be fun to like show you some of those things, have some of that on my channel as like a memory to look back on. But if we don't end up doing anything that's like on a large scale, I don't really know if we would have like video and stuff. I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see what the wedding looks like. I don't want to spend a ton of money on a wedding though. Okay, and let's just wrap it up with maybe one last question. Do you have some favorite fall products? There are certain tones and finishes that I just can't wait to use once the weather breaks. Pumpkin lattes and cozy fires. Oh, for sure. Most definitely there are certain products that I do reach for in the fall time over the rest of the year. And that is a lot of these richer, warmer, grungy tones. Think Mel Cosmetics Gemini palette, which I just had in my pan, those eyeshadows. Think like Colourpop 0.0 lipstick. Oh my goodness. That like gray brown grungy tone. Yeah, that's the world I live in for sure in the fall. And last year I did like a fall shop my stash where I talked about products I was really excited to use for the fall, and maybe I'll do like a recap and like talk about things that I'm excited to use again this fall. I don't know. We'll see if my routine allows. But yeah, that is gonna be everything. I was all over the place. I really hope that I can edit this to make a little bit more sense. I hope that you enjoyed kind of reconnecting, regrouping, and maybe you actually enjoyed seeing how I got this hairdo done. I really like doing these easy waves. Like, I guess I need to kind of touch this up a bit, but I really enjoyed these waves because they're so freaking easy. You don't really have to pay attention to what you're doing. But they always look good. But otherwise, I am literally finishing up my hair right now. So yeah, I'm gonna call it the end of this video. I actually was not planning on doing my hair like this today, but I actually really like the way that it turned out with this kind of more grungy kind of eye and lip combo. Like, I wouldn't initially think of putting this eye color and lip color together, but with that purple in the inner corner, I feel like it's a vibe. Like it fits together, and then these waves just fit so well. So I think I need to get changed out of this dress that I'm wearing. It's very a lot more girly than the look that I've created. I think I need to go for something a little bit more grungy, a little bit more edgy today, based on how things came together. But yeah, I hope that you enjoyed seeing how this look came together, how I created my no foundation look, how I created these waves. And I hope that you enjoyed kind of reconnecting, chatting about all the things, talking about life as it is, as it was, all the things. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of today's video. Let's chat a little bit more down there for sure. But yeah, that is everything. Thank you so much for watching and for hanging out with me. I really did enjoy spending some time just getting ready, drinking my iced coffee, chilling out. And yeah, I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye everyone.